we are gathered here today for our Emergence SDK Unreal Engine workshop. So Chris or Zaparox is going to be leading the charge on this one. Essentially, this is part of a series of hands-on workshops for Unity as well as Unreal Engine to get to know the Emergence SDK built by Crucible Networks and also learn how to build onto Lamina1. So this is a joint venture between ourselves at Open Meta and Lamina1 to help you build game experiences onto any EVM chain using the Emergence SDK and making it as simple as possible to leverage the power of Web3. And you'll be able to get started in as little as 10 minutes. So I am your host for today, Beard on the Block, or Alistair, as my mum calls me when I'm in trouble. But yeah, just a quick background on Open Meta, and then we'll jump into things. So Open Meta is a decentralized autonomous organization, or a DAO, committed to cultivating a community focused on constructing and advancing the open metaverse, functioning as an organizing, delegating, and knowledge-sharing hub. Open Meta aims to ensure the continued openness of Web3, promoting a culture of inclusion and decentralization. So, with the intro from our side of things out of the way. As mentioned, we've got Chris from our team here, but let's introduce our guest from Lamina1. First of all, Ivy St. Ive, or Casey. Would you like to introduce yourself in case anyone doesn't know you just yet?
Of course, of course. So yeah, my name is Casey Halter, online pseudonym Ivy St. Ive. I'm the head of content and community at Lamina1. And yeah, we are a blockchain founded by the author and futurist Neil Stevenson, as well as a technologist, investor, and total crypto OG Peter Vessinas and entertainment executive Rebecca Barkin. And our mission is to empower open metaverse creation. So, we've brought together a storyteller, crypto expert, and our CEO is really, really, really big in the immersive space. And our mission is to create a layer one chain optimized for the open metaverse use cases. We've got a ton of creator tools that we're building off of. We also have a hub called the Lamina1 Hub that we're trying to kind of reimagine what the traditional crypto quote unquote wallet is and turn it more into this consumer grade user experience interface and designed to make it as easy as possible, both for world builders and for people to launch, distribute, get paid for their work in the metaverse, and also to explore open metaverse experiences created and known entirely by their creators, right? So yeah, we are about a year old. We're currently in our beta net phase, and right now we are gearing up to launch metaverse spaces. So we've been focused a lot on the chain so far, but we're getting ready to launch spaces, NFT items, all of that stuff. And these workshops, we came together with the Emergence team. We're integrated with their tool set. And we really wanted this to be one of the first steps that we had to start empowering builders to start building on Lamina1. So yeah, we're super excited to be here. Thanks so much, Alistair.
Awesome. And we are, of course, stoked to have you back 2 days in a row. What an absolute treat. Will Carter, could you please introduce yourself to our audience here?
Sure. Great to meet you all. I'm Will, CTO of Lamina1. Been building blockchain infrastructure, mostly at the layer one level for the past 6 or so years. And really excited to go through this workshop with you all and bring the Emergence SDK to both of our communities. So great to be here.
Thank you so much. And Gordo, or Gordon.
Thanks very much. This is Gordon Matty. I'm head of product for Lamina1. Some really good introduction there from Casey in terms of the background. I oversee the product roadmap and most critically at this point also the development of partnerships with developers and asset creators, really focused on bringing new spaces and assets to the Lamina1 BetaNet. So I'm excited to be here and see what's up in terms of how the community is developing. Thank you.
Awesome. And finally, Chris, if you could introduce yourself and then we can jump straight in.
Yeah. I'm Chris. I make the Unreal plugin at Crucible alongside the rest of the product team. And yeah, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to have a look at it.
Fantastic. So, yeah, Chris is going to lead us through the Emergence SDK and how that plugs into the Lamina1 chain. If you want to follow along live with us, then head over to the announcements channel and all of the information is in there. Hopefully you will already be set up and ready to go. If you have any questions, please use the chat box on the side here, and our good friend and superstar who will be typing away in response in lieu of having a voice at the moment, Alicia, will be there to answer all of your questions. So yeah, Chris, are you ready to
Hopefully, yeah.
Ready to kick off?
Yeah, so yes, so tell me if you can see. I was going to say firstly, this is where you can find the download for this workshop if you haven't found it already. It's on our GitHub, Crucible Networks Limited, Emergence SDK Unreal releases, and then you just need this first one here, Lamina1 Unreal Sample Project.zip. Once you've got that downloaded, you'll want to extract it somewhere. And I've just realized I've shared the window, not the screen, so you're not going to see what I'm looking at. Screen. So you'll want to extract it somewhere, and then it should look something like this one I extracted earlier. So you should see config, contents, plugins, source, and uproject. If you double click the uproject, it will try to open it, and it will probably say something along the lines of, these modules haven't been built, and it will list like Emergence VRM support and VRM for you, and it'll say, do you want to rebuild them now? So you're going to press yes. If you're on Unreal Engine 4, you'll get a nice loading box showing you like the build progress. If you're on Unreal Engine 5, you will get nothing, and you'll just need to wait for a bit. But eventually, you should have the engine open up. This is what it looks like on Unreal Engine 4, because that's what I'm used to. However, on Unreal Engine 5, it will look almost identical, but maybe just a bit of a darker UI. So the first thing you'll be presented with is this this box here, welcome to Emergence. And here, if you give us your email address, we'll send you updates about when we update the plugin. If you don't want to give us your email address, that's also fine. You don't need to send us your email address. It's just if you want to get those updates, because we do find that although the Epic Games launcher will tell you about when we update on the marketplace, it is a tiny little icon that you're probably never going to see. So it might be nice just to receive an email saying, hey, by the way, we've done an update. But yeah, you can close that.
Just very quickly on the note of the email side of things, we, as Chris says, it's predominantly updates and we very rarely send you anything. And if we do, it'll all be highly relevant and super interesting.
Of course, yeah. So, so let's start out by just playing through the 3 examples we have in this project. So hit play at the top, and you'll be put into the game. And so we've got 3 examples here. We're going to start with opening the overlay, and then we'll look at our EAS system and avatars, and then we'll look at minting the L1 trophy, which is your reward for playing through this with us today. So when you interact with that button there, the overlay will open. You can also open the overlay in this example by pressing the Z key, or Z if you're American. The first time you open it, you'll see this your digital identity thing. This only really shows up the first time a user opens the overlay in a game. So every other time it will just go straight to this QR code. So this QR code is a Wallet Connect QR code. So you want to scan it with a wallet like MetaMask, and then it's going to say, do you want to connect to the site? And you press connect, and then it'll say, do you want to sign this message? And that just gives you an access token that lets you talk to our persona service. So speaking of persona service, what is a persona? Personas are our way of connecting effectively a way. You can think of it as a digital identity for that carries across between games, and it's a way of connecting a avatar to a name. So when you first log in, you'll see this big plus button, and that's going to let you create your first avatar. Sorry, your first persona, and it's going to say which avatar do you want to use. I've already got another EAS avatar, and I'll show you how you can get this one in a second. But first, I'm just going to go with this one. So I'm going to give it a name. What name shall I give it, Alistair? I'll give it Jeff. My name Jeff. So
that works as well. Sorry, I was
yeah.
trying to unmute my microphone.
And then you can also give it a bio. So funny the second time. So when you press create persona, it's going to ask if you're sure, and if you press yes, you'll see the persona is shown on the home screen, and this is now the persona that's associated with this wallet. You can actually have multiple personas associated with a wallet, but you can only have one active one. So that's the persona system. If we go over to Emergence avatars here on the right side, if you interact with this one with E, you should see a message sent to the wallet you logged in with. For me, it's saying, would you like to switch to the network? Because this is a Polygon transaction. So it's going to ask you to switch to Polygon, because of course I'm on Lamina1 BetaNet all the other time. So, and after you've switched, it's going to hopefully send you the transaction. We hope. We have been having slight downtimes with our EAS online system. Our EVM online system recently. So it may be a bit weird. I'm just going to do what Tom did yesterday and do a quick refresh of the login. Okay, so I've got the transaction, and it says it's going to cost me 0 Matic apart from the gas. So press confirm. And after that has confirmed, if I just go over to the output log, you'll see the transaction going through here. So you can see what the transaction was to, and effectively Emergence is going to try and confirm this transaction. So it's going to call get transaction status until it sees so many blocks have been mined after the transaction that contained the block that contained the transaction that you just sent through. So after it's done that, it's going to print the transaction hash to the screen. And if that happens, you know that the transaction's gone through effectively here. So that will mean that now when you go back to your personas and you go to edit and you go to replace avatar, you should now have this Emergence example avatar available, because you've minted the token that it's associated with in EAS to this wallet that you're logged in with. So if you press replace avatar, you press save changes, you'll update your persona to now be associated with that avatar. And this demo project is going to download the download the avatar from the blockchain, and this is a VRM, which is a type of file that is based off of the GLTF format, but they've added like some bone mapping stuff that effectively allows you. Basically, every VRM is a humanoid that's rigged to a specific skeleton, which basically means that Emergence can download that and immediately map it onto the skeleton that's associated in the game, right? It's basically an interoperable avatar system, and what we've done is we've made the EAS system that allows you to associate those VRMs to NFTs, so that you can bring this in with our interoperable identity system called personas, and then you've now got avatars which you can bring between different games on either Unreal or Unity, which we think is pretty cool. So next, let's go over to minting the L1 trophy. So we have two buttons here. We have mint and has minted. So if I hit has minted here, in the top left, you're going to see, or on the console, you're going to see user hasn't minted yet. And I'll show you how all of these buttons work in a moment, because we are going through this relatively quickly. So currently I've not minted. If I go over to the one on the right here and interact with that, you might need to stand to the like right side of this button, because I was trying to prevent you from being able to press both at the same time. So I ended up making the collision for this one like make you go over here. But anyway, if you press E to interact with this, you'll see it's going to send another request to sign something to your wallet, and it's going to say this site would like you to switch the network, and this time you're going to Lamina1 BetaNet. If you haven't got the network in your wallet already, it's probably going to say this site wants to add a network. But yeah, if I switch network, we should now get a thing go through to my wallet. Again, I think it's being a little slow because, yeah, I think the server's being a little slow, potentially because everybody's following along. But we will. I'll just refresh it. So just reconnect. It's worth mentioning you have to reconnect every time you start a play and editor session, but obviously if you were playing a game, you wouldn't be restarting the game all the time, so it's not really a concern as far as that goes. And obviously, because I had my persona already associated with this, it's going to bring in the model again. But yeah, if I hit mint on here, and this time it sent it to my wallet, Emergence is going to wait for a confirmation. Now we've actually found that because the way that Lamina1's BetaNet is set up, we don't actually need confirmations. I think we found yesterday because of the what was the phrase that you guys used? It was final line. Yeah. So, but yeah, Emergence is going to wait for at least one right now. But in the future, of course, you could just set that to 0 confirmations because you don't actually need it. But
are you guys using the public RPC server for this demo?
Yes, I think I can tell you what we're using.
For those who are following along, if you're developing your own project, you might find that it's much more responsive if you launch just a local node on the beta net. That's really easy to do, and we can give you guys some instructions on how to do that. But if you're running your own local node and just hitting it via localhost, it'll be much more responsive because you're sharing the public RPC with everyone. So just wanted to point that out.
It's a good point. So if your transaction has gone through, you should see again a transaction hash in the log. And if you get that transaction hash and you copy it, and we go to the Lamina1 beta net, you'll see the transaction details. And you can see, you know, we're minting to the from this Emergence workshop item contract, and you'll see it was, you know, minted from the null address to my address. And if we go back into game and we go to has minted, you'll see user has minted. Ta-da! So I kind of went through that pretty quickly. Shall we have a look at how all of these work under the hood? I think that's what comes next in this workshop.
Yeah, and I think there were a couple people falling behind. I don't know if there's any questions we can answer in real time to get them caught up.
I think Alicia's on the real time customer
Alicia will
support
handle
line. But yeah, in terms of looking under the hood, yeah, let's jump into that. That sounds great.
Yeah. So let's start with this one's kind of boring. Okay, let's start with the really interesting bit, which is the Lamina1 mint here. So we've got has minted and mint. So if you click on the mint button and you press edit on the thing in the world outliner, you'll see all of this is written in Blueprint, which I think is really cool because it means that like you don't even need to know C++ to start making games on Lamina1 or any other EVM network if you're so inclined. So I've got this event here that's just on interacted with. Obviously, you could implement this in like however you want as part of your game. This is sort of game logic-y bit. But the first thing we do is we have this emergent singleton here, and you can drag off of that and you can go as cached address, and that basically is, do we have a wallet address associated with the logged in account? And you can sort of think of it as a Boolean that you can check to see if the user is logged in. It's not quite if the user is logged in, it sort of is more like have they ever logged in, but for the purposes of this example, it was fine to use this. And obviously, if they aren't logged in, we'll say like, you need to log in before you try to use this. But if they are logged in, we have this write method. And this is, we have read method and write method. So read method is talking to a smart contract where you are reading from it. It's something that returns data. And write method is where you are calling a function which will, of course, cost you like gas, unless it's like some sort of gasless EVM chain. Do those exist? I don't know. Anyway, so let me zoom in on this a bit further. You can zoom further. So
just very quickly while you're doing this, if anyone following along needs some L1 tokens, please pop your wallet address into the chat and we can deposit some for you.
Yeah. So first off, at the top we have this deployed contract, and I'll show you what these are. So if I press browse on here and we go back to our content browser, you'll see we have Lamina1 trophy deployed contract, and we also have Lamina1 trophy contract, and we also in another folder have the Lamina1 blockchain. So the way that these work is effectively we have contracts, blockchains, and deployed contracts. So a contract is basically you get the ABI as a big string and you just slap it in this box, right? And then you press this button that says find methods, and it will find all of the read methods such as address mints, balance of, owner, and it will find all of the right methods, such as, safe batch transfer from and set price. And then it effectively treats it as a game object. So you can have multiple of these and you can refer to them later. You'll see how it works later. But once you've done that with your ABI, you can then go and make a deployed contract. So a deployed contract is a contract, a blockchain, and an address. So Emergence by default will ship with currently ships with a Lamina1 BetaNet as a default option. You can of course set your own BetaNet, your own blockchains up by right clicking anywhere, and you can in the content browser, and at the bottom you'll see Web3, and you can see blockchain contract and deployed contract. So if you can make your own blockchain, but this is the Lamina1 BetaNet you'll get. So it has a name, an RPC URL, a symbol, and a chain ID. Obviously, this is probably where if you're setting up your own local version, you'd want to set your own RPC URL. This is where you would do it. Effectively, you get a blockchain contract and address, and that makes a deployed contract object. You put your deployed contract object in here, and then this blueprint will automatically find all of the methods which are write methods. So the ones that are not I think the technical solidity is pure or view, I think, are read methods, and then all the other ones are write methods. So it's going to find all of the methods you can possibly call. It's going to allow you to send a value, and this is in way. So if you want to send 1L1, then you need to send 1 times 10 to the power of 18 way. If you get confused about that, you can go on the internet and find way calculators, but basically this is the payable. If you're familiar with how smart contracts work, this is the payable number. Content is the arguments you're sending. So if you've got a method that takes multiple arguments, Mint doesn't take any arguments other than the payable. But if you did have one that took arguments, this is where you put it, and you'd make you do make, and then you could just add arguments like that. We don't need to worry about local account name or gas price for now, but effectively local account name is for if you're working with key stores, which we support, but I won't go into it in this because it's super advanced. You can set the gas price if you want to, but it will automatically calculate the gas price if you don't set one. You can set the number of confirmations, which for Lamina1 you might as well set to 0 because of the thing we talked about earlier. And then the time between checks, which again wouldn't matter if you'd set this to 0. It would just mean it wouldn't check. It's time between checks is how often it checks if the number of confirmations has been reached, but obviously it doesn't matter if you set it to 0. So then on the right-hand side of this, we have the outputs. Obviously, the one at the top, if you're familiar with blueprints, is just the instantaneous output, but then the other two are the asynchronous outputs. So we have on transaction sent, which is when the user has pressed confirm in their wallet, but we haven't actually confirmed the transaction yet. And we just say the wallet connected, wallet confirmed off of that. And then once the transaction has confirmed, you can get this emergence transaction, which has a lot of details about the transaction, such as the transaction hash, amongst other things. And then we just print that to the thing. So that's how you can do mints in Emergence. Basically, that's the whole minting part of it. As for how we were checking if you'd minted, again, it's the same, but this time we're using a read method. So again, we put in exactly the same deployed contract we've already made. but this time it's going to show us read methods. We're going to look for address mints, and we're going to put in the emergence cached address, which is your wallet address, as the 0th argument to address mints. And this is going to output the amount of times that address has minted this token. Now, keep in mind, the way that the smart contract is set up is you can only mint it once anyway from each address. So the answer is either going to be 0 or 1. And so what I decided to do was I got the JSON output. I get the 0th response, because keep in mind that Solidity returns an array of responses, because it's effectively it has multiple return values. It's kind of a bit like Lua, if you've ever worked with that. If you're coming from like the game engine sort of stuff, you might have. Anyway, and basically I just check, okay, if it's 0, that means they've not minted, and if it's not 0, that means they have minted, because it's either going to be 0 or 1. And that's how we do has minted. And effectively, that's also how we do, like, minting the avatar is exactly the same, pretty much exactly the same as minting the L1 trophy, but instead of minting an L1 trophy, you mint an avatar and you do it on a different chain. So if we go to the EAS example avatar deployment, you've got Polygon and you've got the EAS example avatar contract. And
for those who aren't sure, EAS is Ethereum Avatar Service.
It's a Emergence Avatar Service.
I meant that. My bad.
Yeah.
Emergence Avatar Service.
It used to be that, but then we realized we don't just want to be on Ethereum, so we're like, we can rebrand anyway. So that is that's how you do like reading and writing to smart contracts. We can also show how the opening of the overlay works. So this is super simple. It's one node. It's called Open Emergence UI, and it just opens the UI. The way also, like, as I said, you can also open it with Z, and that's just something we've set up for this example. So 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 if you go to blueprints, game mode, pawn, edit third person character, and then you'll see like all of the stuff you'd usually find in like a character for an Unreal game. But then if you go to the Z button press, you'll see the code is also here. Additionally, in here we have the code for updating the avatar when when you update your persona. So we just have like we drag off of the emergent singleton, bind event to on cached persona updated, break the persona, and then you'll probably just want to copy this blueprint into your game. It's effectively you get the avatar by the ID, and you from there you can get details about the avatar, and then you can get the data from the URL and push it into the avatar. Have we minted the trophy yet? Yes. Did I go through it too fast?
No, you are hiding it on top of the cabinet there. I love it.
So
we're all good.
Yeah, I was going to say is in yesterday's example, Tom had the great idea of spawning the trophy after the user has minted it. Obviously, the way that we work with these things is that we're checking against the blockchain to say if you own something, but the game engine itself doesn't go, okay, I'm only going to show this object when the user when the user owns it, you have to put that in yourself, or you have to decide how that works, because obviously we can't think of every possibility that you might come up with in your game of when you want to show something. You might want to show something when the user doesn't own something as something that exists within a store or something like that, to say,
Just
here's what you
on
could
this
own.
kind of on this chain of thought, Will, outside of the application that we're showing here, where obviously you can mint the trophy, what kind of other applications can you see for Emergence onto Lamina1? I think you're on mute, Will. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the question? What type of applications do I see people using Emergence for when building experiences?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's what's traditionally been done, which is, if you want to build a game that issues collectible NFTs that might be interoperable across experiences, that's something that we see this mint functionality direct in game being really, really interesting for developers. So you would develop your smart contract to, potentially issue randomized NFTs at certain, in-game achievements, or, maybe you have crafting stations where you would be able to input a NFT or smart contract like assets, and it would mint out a NFT item, and then that item is something that you could take with you within the game, but also outside the game. So it would automatically appear in your MetaMask wallet, and you'd be able to take into other experiences. So that's, I think, what's traditionally been done in a lot of games. And then there's obviously the notion of avatars, and again, being able to mint and collect and interoperate with different characters across different experiences. But then I think where it might get interesting is to take it a step further. I've seen a lot of games out there that have tried to put actual game logic on chain via smart contracts. So everyone's kind of there's a piece of the game logic that's operating on a smart contract on chain, and everyone's kind of playing within that smart contract. That's something that's really interesting that a few games have tried. It's pretty difficult. It's one of the things that Lamina1's actually maybe an ideal infrastructure to try something like that on, because
I
I
was
think we
going
had
to
talked
say,
about
like, this
earlier.
is a perfect opportunity to plug Lamina1.
Yeah, so you mentioned earlier you don't know if there's any gasless EVMs out there. There are actually, and I think there's a couple public ones, but on Lamina1 you're actually able to launch your own subnet, which is basically your own dedicated blockchain infrastructure. And by default, those are usually EVMs. And the benefit to that, there's a bunch of benefits to that, but one of them is you get to define how the economics of that blockchain work. And so one of the toggles that you can press is the gas price, if you even use gas. So if you did want to kind of run a game that, pushed a lot of transactions on the smart contract onto smart contracts on behalf of the user, but you didn't want to load the user up with a lot of actual currency cost, um, because that's going to hurt the gameplay, obviously. If the player feels like they're constantly dumping money in to play the game, then you can make a gasless CVM. And there's some things you'll have to keep in mind when doing that, which is okay, if there's no gas costs, how do we keep people from spamming the system and DOSing it? And there's some strategies you can use there that we could talk about in maybe a more advanced workshop. But yeah, in general, you have, I think, the point here is to kind of let your creativity run the show here, with the understanding that you have with Lamina1 and this Emergence integration, you now have the ability to not only develop within the game engine, but to customize the infrastructure that the game engine is interacting with, to suit your individual needs as a developer.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, we made a video of like potential examples of things you can do with Emergence as well, like some of the things you discussed. Which I don't know if we want to show it. You want to show it? Unless we've got some more
Yeah,
stuff.
if we got time.
We've got time because I've got nothing left to show in this example. Actually, I will show you one more thing. Is if you've downloaded this, I've left in the original Emergence sample map, which has a couple more examples. It has a reading and writing to smart contracts example and another one of these, which you can just skip over because they're basically the same. It shows off our inventory service. I should have mentioned we have like it. If I go back into the overlay here, let me scan this. If I go back into the overlay, we have a collection tab which has like your NFT inventory. You can think of it like, going into your collection in OpenSea. It has various different blockchains in it. We have like, if we go down this end, we show an example of how you could show the inventory in game. So like an in-game inventory. It's a super like basic UI, but like you could expand on this in your own game to make something that's a bit more fitting to your game's theming. We have an example of dynamic metadata as well. So dynamic metadata is this system we've built that allows you to associate additional metadata with an existing token. So you can sort of build on a token and you can go, okay, in my game, I want to add this. I want to add like how a sword should fit into a hand. Like, what's the rotation and location that it should meet the hand? I'll associate that with an existing NFT, and that NFT is obviously associated with like a GLTF of a sword, and then you can sort of start to build up more interesting systems. This example just shows like that, but also shows this additional system we came up with called the NFT Picker that should open your the overlay to your. Pretend we didn't see that. Should open the overlay to your to your inventory and allow you to select an NFT. I'll show you some of those actually in this video. I'll put this in the chat as well if anybody wants to see it a bit clearer. But we made this. Can you see this, by the way?
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
So actually, let's go. Yeah, I'll go through this a bit. So here you can see me scanning the QR code if nobody's seen how this looks before. And I'll just skip through this because you've seen most of this already. But here's the first example. So we go, okay, we've got. I like this example because you talk about token gated access, but in a 3D world, you can physically have a token gate, like a gate that requires a token. So, so I use the NFT picker to get this the lab access card, and it gets rid of the door. And then in this room over here, we have a thing that again opens the overlay and lets you select one of these two all stars things, and it actually like loads it from the blockchain because we've if you use a plugin like GLTF runtime, which is available on the Unreal Marketplace, you can basically use Emergence as inventory service to find content that is associated with an NFT, and if it's a GLTF, you can get the URL of it and then download it using Emergence, then push the data from the download into GLTF runtime, and then load the model in at runtime. So you don't even need to like have an entire all of these in collections, various different cool objects in your game already. You can just go, okay, it's on the blockchain, it's got GLTF, I can load it, and that's what I do here. And I just have it like follow me around, but like you could make that into a cool pet system for your game. So I think that's pretty cool. Here we've got like a jukebox, and one of the things that the NFT picker allows you to do is you can allow users to pick things from other wallets than their own if it makes sense for your game. So let's say you're building out a metaverse experience where you're in someone else's house and you want to see what's in their jukebox. You could have it where it opens to this person who owns a Death Row Sessions thing, and what it's going to do is it's going to load the MP3 from the metadata that's on the blockchain, and again we've got like a runtime MP3 thing plugin of some sort.
So you don't want to put your Guilty Secrets playlist on the blockchain. I won't be minting my Spice Girls anthology.
I don't know if you're probably not getting the audio. Pretend Snoop Dogg's playing, everyone. Just imagine it. So, and then we go over here and we go, this is effectively what I've shown you today, which is like, I found this coin in a game and I can mint it to my wallet, and then once I've minted it, the coin disappears because the game knows that the transaction has happened on the server side. It's a slow transaction. This is Gorley. Wouldn't be this slow on L1, right? Okay. And then we've got. Oh, this is a really cool idea. So we've got this item trader who's called Agu. And
that's a total coincidence.
Yeah, total coincidence. And we've got this rune blade, which is for sale for 1 way, so definitely worth picking up. And effectively, you can put a marketplace in your game by using a marketplace contract, like an escrow contract, and Emergence, because Emergence works with any smart contract. Like you can put any ABI in. It doesn't have to be an NFT. You can make it talk to us to like an escrow contract or a marketplace contract or whatever EVM compatible smart contracts you can think of. So you can totally put a marketplace in. You just have to program it because we've not done it for you there. You sort of need to use the read and write methods to make it happen, but it's certainly possible. This is the example I was talking about earlier, where now I've got that rune blade that I've just bought. It will load in from the blockchain using GLTF runtime and the GLTF, which is on the blockchain. You've got to remember there are a lot of NFTs that have GLTFs associated with them because, of course, they show up really nicely on OpenSea. So if you go on OpenSea and they've got that default OpenSea model viewer thing, it's probably a GLTF or a VRM. Keep in mind that VRMs are effectively GLTFs. Anyway. And then what happens next? Oh yeah, this is just showing that you can take what you've earned in one game world into another game world if the two game worlds are willing to load things interoperably. This game world is a first-person game world, so I go over to this enchanting thing, and what I do is it gives me the NFT picker again, and I click on the rune blade, and then you see it gets that little enchantment. And the way we actually do that enchantment is it's going to show you. If I go to collection and then I click on the rune blade, it's got dynamic metadata. So what we've done is we've got the enchantment level, and that's like the thing that shows the glowy thing on the end of the sword. And then we've also got this other thing, which is the location, rotation, and scale, which is how the weapon is attached to the character's hand. So if you imagine like you've got your game and you've got like a generic like hand location, that's not necessarily going to be compatible with every single weapon that's already on the blockchain, and they didn't consider like putting the thing in the right place for your game's hand, if that makes sense. So you might want to move them around, but you want to store that. You might want to store that somewhere like dynamic metadata. So yeah, that's some examples of things you can do with Emergence as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chris. Really appreciate you coming on and giving us this presentation. Now, I know the chat box has been going absolutely nuts, and Alicia has been working away very hard on answering all of your questions. If anyone would like to come up on stage and ask a question in real time, then please request to be a speaker, and we'll get you up here and answer your questions as best we can. We've got Chris, our lead Unreal Engine developer. We've got Will Carter and also Casey from Lamina1. So don't be shy. Please feel free to raise your hands and jump on up. We will also, just while we're waiting for any questions coming in, we will also have more advanced workshops coming up in the future, focused on building a full game for Lamina1. So you should all be set up with the basics now. You can get up and running and start exploring on how to build your own Web3 game for Lamina1. So yeah, let's jump back and see if we've got any questions. I can't see anyone having raised their hand to speak. I believe that Alicia has posted a link to the bounty for today's workshop, and I am going to treat you to a code very soon, but we need to get some questions in first. So we actually have one here from DJ Radon. From the Emergence perspective, are there any significant differences between Unity and Unreal?
We have tried to reduce the differences where possible, but at the end of the day, they are two different engines that work differently. So, my writing style for writing the Unreal plugin was to try and make it feel like something that Epic had written, and then the other one I assume is written in a way that feels like Unity would have written it. So that would be the only differences. We try and name things similarly. Unreal does have a couple more features in various different places, but Unity we're trying to get them on parity. But technically speaking, the Unreal one has the ability to have key stores, which Unity doesn't. But that's I guess generally speaking, we're trying to make them the same, but there are small differences. Is the answer, I guess.
Yeah, they are inherently different as game engines, but we're trying to make it as close to one another as possible. Will, from your side of things, and I guess just game engines in general, what's your personal preference?
On Unity versus Unreal. I've never actually really developed on Unreal myself. So most of my early prototyping in the VR AR space, or was in the VR AR space, in terms of kind of 3D experience development. So that was, at least back when I was doing it, heavily Unity focused. So I do have a little bit of loyalty towards Unity in that regard. But I've seen kind of the new stuff that Unreal's come out with, and kind of like the fidelity of the experiences you can make is really impressive. So I've always been kind of keen on picking up Unreal myself, but yeah, so far most of my experience has been on Unity.
Nice. And what's next for Lamina1?
Yeah, we have a lot going on right now. So part of it is our new partnership with Avalanche. So we're going to be migrating over to Avalanche and kind of positioning some of our tools towards helping people get established within the Avalanche ecosystem, both as infrastructure. So as I mentioned earlier, people who want to launch their own dedicated infrastructure for their experience will be helping them do that. But then also for people who are trying to jump into these experiences as users, or content creators, providing some tools for you to do that as well. We're continuously fleshing out the hub, which, if it hasn't been linked in the chat, I'm sure Casey will do so in a moment. But that's kind of our like one-stop shop window into what we hope will become the open metaverse, an open and interoperable metaverse. So it does have wallet functionality, but it's supposed to extend to much more than that. You'll be able to see and interact with your assets, whether they're 2D or 3D. There'll be social components to it so that you can share some of the stuff you've been doing in these various metaverse experiences. There'll be discovery feeds for you to jump into different experiences or try to find new and interesting assets to use in experiences. So there's that aspect of it with the hub, which will just continuously be evolving. Integrations like this, we have quite a few more that we're working on, particularly with experience creators. So maybe more established experience creators who are already well on their way to having kind of a polished game, or some of them are kind of in other verticals as well. But bringing those experiences to our user base is another big focus of ours. Yeah, and then trying to help guide the discussion on interoperability. So we looked today in that sneak peek on ways to use smart contracts in games, which was really cool and makes me really excited for the more advanced workshops. But yeah, I mean, you noticed there that I think there's still a lot of work to be done on kind of what the JSON metadata for a lot of these assets that we hope will become interoperable and used in a bunch of different experiences, how we structure that in a way that experiences can effectively use them. And that becomes a challenge, like if I mint the sword that we saw today, but I want to somehow bring it into, I don't know, a pure sci-fi realm. Like are there aspects of that NFT we can bring in, but maybe it takes a different form? So there's like a lot of questions around interoperability that we're trying to kind of break down and lead some of the discussion on, and hopefully bring that to our creators and our users and our partners. So that's high level, I think, the key pieces we're working on at the moment. There's some like more lower level infrastructure stuff that'll make the actual blockchains themselves operate a little more efficiently for different use cases. So that's stuff we're working on in the background as well.
Awesome, exciting times ahead for Lamina1, and yeah, we're honoured to be a part of this, and love being one of your close partners, and really appreciate you all jumping on 2 days in a row to run these workshops with us. And I'd just like to say that this is just the beginning. We've got a lot more in store ahead. We're working on some things in the background that we can't quite talk about just yet, but there will be plenty more Lamina1 Open Meta Crucible Emergence collabs coming up. And yeah, we are stoked and excited for it. Casey, did you have any calls to action for our communities watching in?
You know, I do. So I dropped a survey link a little bit earlier in the feed. I'm going to drop it again in here, but we've got a survey that we want all workshop attendees to fill out if you've got the time. This will basically give us an idea of how you like the workshop. If you want to make any requests for future deep dives, you know, in terms of smart contracts or avatars or anything, let us know, because obviously we're going to come out of these workshops and take your feedback and map out the kind of next series that we're going to be doing together. And also the sort of end of that survey is a CTA, again, for creators to reach out to us at ecosystem@lamina1.com if you're interested in launching a space with us. If you're interested in launching an asset collection with us as well. So something that our product team is looking for, it's not just, you know, people who are interested in launching spaces or experiences, but also people who have like really cool 3D assets. We're working with a bunch of our early access partners right now to get some initial spaces up and running on the hub. And we want to figure out also how to bring a bunch of assets in and out of various spaces, just so that we can kind of be showcasing how interoperability will work on our side. So yeah, definitely engage with us. We're in BetaNet, but the idea is, you know, if you launch with us on BetaNet, we can learn a ton of information about what it'll take to launch experiences, guide creators through it. You'll really be helping informing that process so that when we go to mainnet, you can launch on us. It'll be smooth, and we can start forming the foundation of the open metaverse together. So yeah, I mean, again, this workshop is all about empowering builders to start building with us using the Emergence toolkit. And I know, you know, Emergence has a bunch of bounties that just went live this week that'll incentivize folks for building with the Emergence toolkit. And so we're going to be amplifying those. We're also going to have a couple of quests on our front as well for creators. And also, just as like a little FYI, if you do build an experience with us, we're currently working out the kind of logistics of like a token grants program, you know, making sure that the people who are building on us, you know, are compensated for all of the hard work they put into it. So again, definitely reach out to us. We want to really get building and bring as many creators as we can onto the platform right now. So thank you. And thanks so much for having us. We're so excited to be able to branch out beyond our community and into yours, and, you know, making sure that we've got some permeability between ours, because you've got a lot of awesome builders here as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we've got amazing builders in both of our communities. I have posted up a super secret code for those watching in. Make sure you screenshot that as part of this conversation to submit with your bounty. That's how we will be checking it. The bounties are live until tomorrow, so it is time constrained, just to make sure it's just for those of you who have tuned in live here with us. Ryan, you are up on stage. Did you have any closing thoughts or remarks for our communities here?
Hey, I got invited on stage, so I joined, but I don't have anything too significant other than just to thank everyone for being here. We did Unity yesterday and Unreal today, so you can see that there is consistency in the way that it's designed, but each engine needs to sort of be tailored for that framework and that software. So we want to make sure that we have sort of equal capabilities on both engines. We have achieved interoperability between these engines. We have solved a large heavy lift of the technical challenges for interoperability. And now it really comes down to supply and demand, like everything else. So, you know, these tools are meant to kind of reach a tipping point in the culture. People in these types of rooms are very, very early pioneers in this, but it doesn't take that many development teams to make real impact. So I always like to say, if you look at what happened with AI and with GPT and all this stuff, there were tools that allowed AI to go through rapid experimentation. And that's why we've seen the kind of impact that we have aesthetically through text to image and text to video and all of these things. Once that kind of rapid experimentation is present in game development through these kinds of tools like Emergence, I think we will see the next chapter, the one that we've all kind of been able to squint and see the silhouette of for a while and have been dreaming up for a long time. That's what's next, and this is hopefully the catalyst for that. That's what the company Crucible exists for, and that is what the tools of Emergence exist for.
Great. Thank you
So
so
to
much.
that point, actually, we personally do have bounties that we're offering to kind of reward follow through here. These workshops are great for education, and my team and Lamina1 team are here to support all developers and development teams. But we want to go even further than that, and we really want to support and reward follow through and moving things into real projects and moving things into demos and vertical slices and whatever the early stage of your vision really looks like. So please, stay engaged with us, get in touch with us, show us what you're building. We have bounties, we have rewards, we have support around the clock for you, and we really want to draw these into real things, real built projects, real built games or experiences that people can, start to participate in.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, I'm just seeing things coming in through the chat with some kind of more in-depth technical questions. As Ryan says, we do have our team on hand to help you out. If you head over to the left-hand side under SDK Emergence, you'll find our forum over there as well. For more in-depth topics that you think other people can learn from, please create those in the forum so they're easy to search. And then we've also got UE chat or Unreal Engine chat Emergence and Unity chat Emergence as well here in our Discord. And I know that over in Lamina1's Discord, they also have a specific Emergence SDK channel over in there as well, which we will be monitoring from time to time too. So if you have any questions, we are here to help. We want you to be as successful as possible and help you on that journey. So you've all taken your first steps here today. Thank you so much for doing so. And yeah, we're super excited for what the future holds. Make sure to go and follow us on Twitter. It's twitter.com/ or x.com/openmetadao. And also follow Lamina1. It's which is x.com or twitter.com/Lamina, then the number 1 official. And also, of course, head over to the Lamina1 Discord and jump in there as well if you're not already. So thank you once again, and yeah, we'll wrap things up there. Casey, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No, I think you did great. I'm just going to drop our Discord link in the chat right now. And yeah, we'll see you guys all in the open metaverse on our Discords. Excited to do this again soon.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Chris, thank you for presenting. And Ryan, thanks for jumping on. And of course, thank you again to our community for joining in.